Hello and welcome to BizBuddy Web Genius Go Out with a Bang webinar training. Thank you very much for joining us today for our 45-minute session. We're going to get kicked off very shortly. Before we do that, we'll just go through some preliminary introductions and make sure that everyone is here attending as planned and hopefully getting as much value out of this seminar as possible. First of all, this seminar is brought to you by BizBuddy and Web Genius. BizBuddy are a 6-month-old business consultancy in New Zealand, especially targeting New Zealand small and medium-sized businesses. We can say without fear or favour that it is the best business consultancy for small businesses in New Zealand ever. We're changing the business consultancy model, and that means that small businesses in New Zealand can now afford professional experts in their business to help them grow and prosper. BizBuddies are found all over New Zealand. You won't find them with a suit or a tie. They'll turn up, roll their sleeves up and get stuck in to help your business.
Okay, and there's a short overview of Web Genius. They offer a proven service which presents your business in a professional branded image and tells your business story to generate qualified business leads. They harness the power of the internet to get you more business. Their credentials include certified Google partner and a number of Deloitte First 50 in 2011.
Firstly, we'd just like to introduce ourselves to you.
Richard Elderington. Firstly, I was born in Yorkshire in the UK and I came to New Zealand 9 years ago. I've got a master's degree in quality engineering and I've been a systems manager for many years, implementing ISO 9000 health and safety and the environmental standard, and also doing some IT-based strategies. But I was too entrepreneurial for the corporate world. I had many of my own businesses, enterprises that weren't too successful in the past. So I would have loved to have some help and guidance during these times. I've worked very hard to develop systems and processes to look to help many small businesses succeed.
My name is Jeff Smith. I've had 25 years working with small businesses and owning small businesses. On top of that, I've also run small chambers of commerce here in New Zealand, and I've had the opportunity to see a wide variety of businesses, A, failing, and B, succeeding. I know the one that I'd rather be involved with, and that's the successes, but the failures, apart from harming their suppliers and creditors and staff, it's also communities that get damaged and as a result of failing businesses. So my personal aim is no small business failure in New Zealand. Very quickly, that's us there. We're not that young. A couple of young guys here that were invited along to the health and safety seminar in Kapiti through the Kapiti Chamber of Commerce to present our stuff there. The good looking guy with the black shirt on is Richard, and the other good looking guy with hardly any hair is Jeff.
We would like to give New Zealand small business owners enough information and templates and actions to begin their succession planning journey. To this end, we would like to provide you with sufficient information and knowledge to enable you to succeed during this journey.
That's right. This is a BizBuddy course. It's succession planning, and succession planning is a rather dry subject, but as BizBuddies found out, you can actually use succession planning to actually grow and improve your business. So we rebranded this Go Out with a Bang. It's what we're covering in the course is basically what is succession planning, the problems if you don't actually do any planning, and we're also going to cover the solutions. So that's how to come up with a plan, how to start implementing today. If you hang around till the end of the course, which is roughly 40 minutes time, we'll give you the link and the place where you can download all the templates, workbooks and tools that you need to get started with your succession planning today. So why have a succession plan or an exit strategy? Or what we should be asking is, what happens if you don't have one? Well, firstly, the business for most small New Zealand businesses is dependent on the owner, and unfortunately most business owners do not know how to become more hands-off or exit their business profitably. So they don't know how to walk away from the business and leave it running with someone else, and they don't know how to actually develop their business so that it becomes a huge asset for that day when they do want to exit. Secondly, the business value, it's not worth much without the business owner unless you put in some business succession planning into the business. And I'll give you a quick wee story on this. A few years ago, I was working with an ice cream vendor in the Hawke's Bay. Now, he was fantastic at his job. He turned ice creams such as this one here, which he produced for around about 40 cents each, put them into a cone, and he sold them to his customers for $1.50. He soon found out after a few years in business that if he added another 50 cents worth of product, such as flakes and sprinkles and chocolate sauce and what have you, he could take the same 50 cent or $1.50 product and sell it for $3.50, which was a fantastic revelation to him. He found out through marketing his product, he could add value, spend a bit more, and make a lot more money. A few years went by, and when I caught up with him again, I found that he had actually sold his business. But unfortunately, he'd sold it, walked away for not very much. And I asked him why that was. And he couldn't give me an answer. He just thought, well, you went to work every day, you produced the ice creams, you sold your business, and you retired or did something else. It struck me then that if this guy was so good at taking an ice cream, adding value to it, and receiving 2 or 3 times the profit in return, why couldn't he do that with his business? Why could not make his business a highly sellable asset that he could use to on-sell and make a huge profit for? So from that day onwards, when working with businesses, we always made sure that succession planning was pretty much one of the first strategies, or go out with a bang. And that's what we mean by going out with a bang. It's taking your business, which is an asset, and adding value to that asset. Property developers do it every day, so why can't you do it when you're in business? And luckily, today we're going to show you how to start doing that in your business.
Become really good at what you do. Therefore, introduce a quality system so you can remove Fred. Fred is our business owner. Most business owners are good at what they do, however this is really one of the problems. No one else knows how to do what Fred does. What do you want your business to look like on the last day? What size? Multi-site, international, just national or local? You need to understand what size you want to be. Turnover, linked to the size again. What size in financial terms do you want your business to be? Profitability is very important for small businesses, as business values are valued based on a multiple of net profit. This can be between 2.5 to 4 times net profit. Therefore, it's so important to get a net profit as high as possible on the last 2 or 3 years. Staffing. Do you want to be controlled by many staff, be lean with very little management, or again be very, very small? Very important to understand this and have systems in place to deal with staffing. Time frames. 11 months, 10 years, 15 years, 5 years. It's important to know how long you have to implement this plan. This is linked to the speed of implementation of the plan. Once you know this, you can actually capture this by establishing some milestones and activities that need to be done by certain times, allocating various owners of the actions and the time frames and tracking mechanisms to ensure these things happen.
Next, how would you like to exit the business? So you've sussed out how big you want the company to be, how many staff, how much turnover. You've sussed out also how long you want to be in this business for. Or you haven't sussed it out, you've thought about it, so you can actually start to plan around it. But now there are different ways of actually exiting your business. So we're just going to look at a few of these now, a quick discussion on some of these, and to give you a few ideas as you go forward. The first of these, and probably the most popular, or the one that most business owners think will happen, is the business sale. And if you're like me in the past, or most business owners, what you do is you hope that someone will walk on off the street one day with a big checkbook, maybe a multi-conglomerate corporate, and offer you 7 figures for your business to get out straight away. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen all the time. However, the business sale is the most likely way that you can get out of your business, and it's probably the most effective way that you can actually put tactics into your business to increase the value of your business. So a lot of the stuff we talk about today in succession planning will be around getting your business ready for business sale. Remember the guy with the ice cream and the flash ice cream? If he had got his business ready 5 years before, what would he have got out of his business as a return when he sold his business on?
MBO, or management buyout by staff. This is a potential strategy if your company provides very specific services and that there are not many potential buyers out there that have the relevant skills. The idea being you take people on, transfer the skill sets that allows them to continue the business in a profitable manner.
The next way you can get out of your business or go out with a bang, which certainly is becoming much more popular these days, is to change the business model. And certainly the most popular of these is to turn your business into a franchise operation. For example, McDonald's. If you look at your business and you decide you want to become a franchise operation, that is one way of getting out of your business. You turn from say if you're a hairdresser, into a business model owner or a franchise owner. And this is becoming more and more popular as people do age and there's less and less people around to buy or spend huge amounts on businesses. They might be more happy to buy franchises of a proven, successful business model that's already working. Another great way of exiting your business.
Pass on to the family. This is a good strategy. However, this needs to be negotiated so it is a win-win situation. It can also be very problematic if more than one family member is buying into it. Get really good at what you do. We mentioned earlier on that the most business owners are good at what they do or what they provide. What we are trying to say here is that to understand why you are good and how you do it. Quality is a confusing word. If you replace it with the word business, hence business system, it's much easier to understand. Formal quality systems came into being during World War II after they found out that a lot of soldiers, etc., were being killed by their own defective equipment. They implemented systems to standardize processes and check finished product to make bullets that actually fired up the rifle instead of exploded within it. The business system should cover all the procedures, work instructions and forms required to not only explain how to do the task, but to actually demonstrate that you've done it, including compliance, risk assessments, health and safety, financial, marketing and operations, all massively required to ensure the profitability and success of your business. This allows you to establish a stable system whereby everybody is working in the same manner, which can get you to start, review and implement improvements from a stable platform. Get rid of Fred. Fred is our business owner. Unfortunately, Fred's brain does not come with the business deal that you have just dealt with. What we need to do is start systemizing and documenting the business so it becomes more hands-off. In the following slides, we have tried to explain how to start looking at grabbing the contents of Fred's head and writing it down into a transferable package. When do I start? Well, anytime really, the sooner the better. The quicker you document and train the people in your processes, the faster you can get a stable and repeatable business that allows you to keep non-conformances and errors to the minimum. Once you have the processes documented and established a stable business whereby everyone's working the same, you can then start reviewing areas that can be improved. To keep on top of your business, you need to be continually improving it. This also helps to improve the staff culture as they buy into the continuous improvement concept. It really doesn't matter how you plan to exit. If the new owner knows where you wanted to take the business and how to get there, then they will have increased confidence that it can be done. Start now. No time like the present. Identify the main areas of the business that need to be compliant, that need to be covered to reduce risk and reduce variation, and that need specialized skill, and also affect the customer's experience, because in the end it's the customer who paid you some money. Write it down. The idea of this is that you run through the processes to identify each step, describing what needs to be done and how to do it, and any checks that may need to be recorded during these processes to prove that you've actually done those activities. Be proactive. You should also use this opportunity to involve your staff with the procedural writing, looking at ways to improve as you go. This also increases culture and ownership of those processes. Review. Once the procedures, work instructions and forms are all completed, get the owner of the actual process to review them and approve them as correct. Again, accepting ownership. This effectively locks in the process until it is changed by a rewrite. The training of the staff in these processes, which are relevant to them, normally takes place at this point. This is to ensure they understand and acknowledge the formal way of doing things. Once staff acknowledge that the process is theirs, then the ownership is transferred. Build a manual. The manual is classed as your business manual, hence saying, if you use this manual and work to it as I do, you will make the same amount of money as I am currently. You put all your procedures and documents together in this manual, and this is Fred's business manual. Make access easy. If you write some documents and staff can't find them, that's no good. Ensure the staff have access to the documents that are important to them, that allow them to do their jobs correctly. There are many software packages on the market that help you do this. We recommend Prosper. This is aimed solely at the small business owner between 1 and 15 people. Very affordable, very easy. Updates. The next phase is to encourage continuous reviews and improvements to the procedures. Once an improvement is agreed upon, then the procedure will be updated and the staff informed of the change. Again, this is creating the relevant culture to instill improvement within your organisation. Again, adding value to your business due to the staff driving improvements through. The next slides are examples of some templates which we will include in your workbook, which ensures that you can capture all your processes for your business. Was that one? That was your one.
Here's a slide which is very basic, right down to the minimum activity that you need to start an operations manual. Basically, you take this template out of your workbook, photocopy it or copy it on your Word documents, and give every job a procedure. As you can see here, we've got 8 steps, so it might be how you answer the telephone. Step 1, pick up the telephone. Step 2, what you say. Step 3, how you follow up afterwards. It's also a good place to put down what resources you need. For example, for this step of answering a telephone, you'll need a telephone and maybe some notepaper. This is just a very basic way you can start today if you are stuck and you want to start processing or systemizing your business, and maybe at a later date you want to add a bit more complexity to it.
Okay, this is a procedural template that is used in a more formal system. You'll see from here that it has a reference number. So normal documentation gets a document number, so that will be Fred 001. You would then have an issue number. So once you've got a stable process and you find an improvement, you would then up-issue the document to 2 and get Fred to re-sign it. So this is one way of capturing the changes. You'll see the record of amendments, so you can see the changes as the procedure develops through its lifetime. Okay, and as you can see from this procedural template, the second page, it explains the purpose of the procedure. This is the overall concept of what you're trying to achieve. The scope, this could be that this is only happening in the Paraparam branch but not in the Wellington branch. Who's responsible for each activity throughout the procedure, and then you'll see that the procedure can be in stage approach, and there's always a record section. This is the type of record you're capturing and how long you're going to store it and where you're going to store it, who fills things in, etc., etc. A case study, Templeton Associates. They were an accountancy based in Paraparam Beach. We started working with Rex in 2013, looking to grow his business initially. Plans were developed, unique selling points identified, new processes established, all to increase the growth of the business by 50%. It soon became apparent that Rex was not particularly committed to the plan. After some deep heart-to-heart discussion, Rex admitted he just wanted to back off a bit and semi-retire. Bit of a shock. This required a significant change of plan. We developed a time frame, basically as soon as possible, established some actions and allocated owners, contacted some accountants who had shown interest in purchasing in the past. The main goal of the plan was to sell half of the business and keep the other half for Rex's son and for Rex to work part-time with his son. We'd already established some good procedures during the working towards growing the business, so when we had found a buyer, the transfer both to the new owner and to Rex's son was very straightforward. The business was sold within the time frame, the original premises was closed down, new premises were found and relocated, as well as a staff restructure. The end result was that Rex is now happy working part-time with the rest of the time spent with his horses.
What a great case study of someone who undertook a bit of succession planning and got out with a bang on his own terms. Thank you very much for joining us on today's webinar. We hope it was useful. The things that you should potentially remember out of this webinar are these. Start now. Don't leave it too long. If you start now, then you won't regret your decision in a year or 2 or 5 years' time. It's not hard. Some of the stuff may look a bit complicated, but when you download the workbooks and the templates, you'll find it's pretty easy. It's just really making lists and using a bit of common sense to effect an end goal. It doesn't actually have to be formal, but one is you must actually start to plan. You must start to think about the future. So in the first few minutes of this webinar, we asked you where you wanted the business to be, how long you wanted to be in it for, how big you wanted the business to be. So you must plan for those things. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll arrive on target, but you'll be a heck of a lot better off if you plan and get some milestones included in the way. And the second thing you should remember is to document your processes. So that's whether you go full-on operations manual or just lists. Do something. Remember that when you are passing on your business, whether it be a management buyout or to a family member or to someone who sold your business, it's much easier to extract more value if you give them the keys and a manual on how to run the business like you've run the business. If you have any questions, you feel free to contact us. Go to our website, bizbody.co.nz, and if you'd like to download those templates, here is the website here. It's bizbody.co.nz, training, resources, succession planning. Now that's quite a mouthful. Don't forget to put a hyphen in between each of those words on the end. If you have a bit of trouble there, just go to bizbody.co.nz and complete one of our contact forms there, and we'll make sure we get the templates and downloads to you by email. Thanks once again for joining us on this webinar. We look forward to catching up with you in the future, or if you have any questions around succession planning or you really want to get out with a bang, feel free to contact us at bizbuddy.co.nz. Remember, we are New Zealand's best small business consultancy, and one of our value points or points of difference is our services start from $250 a month to small businesses, and we've seen a lot of really good success stories based on that price point alone. Thank you once again. We look forward to catching up with you shortly.